Hey everybody, Steve here, and welcome to the AFR Monday Night Double Play for March 7th, 2016. So last week on the show, I had a couple different games going on for the Game of the Week, so let's get right to them. First off, I had my continuation of the 2015 Football America set. I'm playing out with second season football, driving my Boston Minutemen through the mid-season here and looking to go a perfect 6-0 on the season, taking on their division rivals in New Jersey. And this one was pretty much over before it began. Right on the very first drive of the game, Boston got a strip sack and ran it back for a touchdown. And then two drives later, New Jersey would get sacked for a safety for a quick 9-0 lead. And then in the second quarter, the Boston team would get great field position thanks to an interception. And it was Rondé Lincoln who capped off the drive with a 2-yard touchdown run. And from there, the route was on. They would get another rushing touchdown in the quarter, and they would go into the half up 23-0. However, not everything was all peaches and creams for Boston this game because they lost their starting quarterback, and he's going to be out for the next two games. However, their backup came in and played really well, actually threw even better than the starter did, and the final of the game was 38-6. Things were so bad for New Jersey that when they finally got a touchdown in garbage time at the end of the fourth quarter, the extra point was blocked, and that pretty much summed up their day. So here I'll show the final stats of the game. It was actually Rondé Lincoln's best game of the year so far, going over 70 yards and with 2 rushing touchdowns. However, the big story, of course, is the loss of our starting quarterback, Tomaselli, who will be out the next 2 games, and this comes at a really bad time because next week we're taking on Golden Bay, who is probably one of the best teams in the league right now. But we'll take the 6-0 start to the season, 2-0 in our division, and see what happens over the next 2 games. Would like to stay undefeated, but with the backup quarterback, we'll hopefully at least split the next 2 games. My other game of the week, which was a theme for the game of the week, and that was getting an old game off the shelf. And so for myself, I took Face to the Mat off the shelf for the first time in a while, and I played out a match using the really fantastic Italian Championship Wrestling cards that are a free download that was in the lastplay.com newsletter. And so I played out, I had 5 matches over the evening, had 1 tag team match, and then finally had a championship match at the end of the night that ended with a double cross with the face champion's main ally turning on him and allowing his opponent to score the pinfall and having a title change. And I have to say, it was a lot of fun, even though it was wrestlers that I had never heard of being over in Italy, but still a lot of fun to get that game back out, and it's certainly something I'm going to try to keep in my rotation. As for viewer games, David from over at the Baseball Demos YouTube channel, he wanted to try out something new with his baseball games, and that was putting the baseball player cards into baseball sleeves from like baseball trading card sleeves. And so he played out a game with Payoff Pitch Baseball using those, and he actually really enjoyed it. I thought it went really well, and so he even made a video showing what it looks like, and I'll post a link to that right up here so you can see how David made out with that. And I think that's a pretty neat innovation for people who don't like stacking the cards. You have everybody laid out in front of you, and so you can quickly reference who's up next and what their fielding stats are for when they're on defense. David, thanks again for the submission to the game of the week. Always appreciate hearing from you, and good luck with everything going on your Baseball Demos channel. So now it's time for the next game of the week, and so I'm going to call this the mid-season slog. And so I'm going to continue my Boston Minutemen season here. We're into the middle stretch of the season, looking to go 7-0. So I'll be continuing my project. And so I invite you, if you have an ongoing project, to play a game or two in that this week and share your results here on the channel. And now it's time for the question of the week. So last week we had the return of the question of the week contest, actually the second of back-to-back contests, and this was to win a copy of the upcoming 1983 season for History Maker Baseball, and this is going to be coming out at the end of the month, and so the winner tonight will be getting it a couple weeks before everybody else does. And this went really well. It was a guess the score contest, and so on Friday night I actually played a game replaying the first game of the World Series in 1983. I controlled Philadelphia and Keith Avalone controlled Baltimore, and I had everybody guess what the score was going to be, and then also guess how many hits Pete Rose and Cal Ripken would have in case of a tiebreaker. But we didn't even need that because we had one person who guessed the score exactly. And for those of you who follow the Play.com Facebook page will already know what the score is because Keith accidentally posted it on Saturday evening. That was the reason why I suddenly put the contest was closed on the notation for last week's video, just to maintain the integrity of the contest and nobody could come in late and put down the score. So it was 5-2. Philadelphia won, and the big MVP of the game was none of the big names that you would imagine from that. It was actually Sixto Lezcano, who hit a 3-run home run in the 4th inning. And that was really all the big highlights of the game in that 4th inning. Joe Morgan led off the inning with a solo home run, and that broke open a scoreless game up to that point. Then Rose and Schmidt singled, and then Lezcano took McGregor deep to make the score 4-0, and that would actually be all the offense they would need, though they would tack on a insurance run later in the game. As for Baltimore, all of their offense came from their MVP, Cal Ripken, who hit an RBI double and then also hit a solo home run. But that was all the offense they could muster, and so just like in real life, Philadelphia picked up a Game 1 victory in Baltimore to go up 1-0 in the series. This was a lot of fun to play out. If you've never had a chance to play somebody over Skype, it actually worked out really well, and especially if you have some friends that you'd love to play games with, but there's a lot of miles between you, I think Skype is a really good option, and of course it's absolutely free. You just need to have an internet connection and a computer with a camera on it. So I'm looking forward to doing that again at some point, and maybe I'll tie it into another question of the week contest. And so the winner of the question of the week contest, who guessed the score exactly at 5-2, was David Squires. David, congratulations, and please shoot me an email to stevenatower@gmail.com and let me know the address that you'd like your set sent to. Thank you to everybody who left comments and entered in. It was another really successful contest. We actually bumped up our subscribers. We gained, I think, 4 people over the last week. So welcome to the new subscribers. Thanks for everybody to help spread the word and entering into these contests. All of it really helps out the channel. So no contest this week, but I do have a question of the week for you, and that is, what are your thoughts on doing season projects? Now, as for myself, I sort of go in and out of doing projects or doing one-off games, but generally most of my gaming does involve some kind of season-long project. And I find it very satisfying. It's sort of nice to sit down and know that you're continuing something and enjoying the journey, and then being able to go back a couple years later and look at your old score sheets and see what happened, sort of remember them, or maybe if you wrote it up over on the Delphi forums or something, be able to read back through your recaps of the games. And so especially with these fictional sets, I find that playing out a season really tends to grab me more than just doing one-off games, because after a while I start to get attached to my players and they sort of develop their own little backstories. And so it's a lot of fun, and I find it's one of the great things about sports board games is that they really are made to be played multiple times over the course of a season. So just playing one game, you're not going to really get the full flavor of the game, but rather over the course of many games where you really start to appreciate everything that a game engine will bring out to a game. So that's my thoughts on season projects. I look forward to hearing from the viewers on how you view playing out projects with your sports board games, and maybe I'll feature some answers on next week's show. All right, everybody, that is all for now. Thank you for watching. My name is Steve, and until next time, get out there, have fun, play games, and I'll see you after further review.